You know what it is? It's Illington. I just wanted to make a quick video to dispel the myth that computers make music and there's no talent involved in making music with a computer. That's a mouthful. But what I'm trying to say is I think a lot of older people and people that just don't make music assume that if someone uses a computer to make music, that the computer makes the music and the person making the music has no talent because the computer makes the music. That's bullshit, is what that is. That's not true at all. So in the 70s and 80s, electronic instruments came around. Some of our favorite bands from the 70s and 80s have synthesizers in their music and drum machines, and it was a craze. It was cool technology, and into the 90s and so on. And people would record a tape. Again, in mid 90s or so into the 2000s, computers did start to emerge in studios, and bands no longer had to record to tape. They could record to the computer, which is a lot more flexible for editing and recording and whatnot, because if you messed up with going to tape, you'd have to start from the top, do it all again. If you're in a band, all five of you had to get it right, and if one of you screwed up, you'd have to start over, to my understanding. Now with the computers, go ahead, record. You could record your tracks individually or all together. Either way, if someone messes up, you just have to go back a couple seconds, take it from where you left off, and that wasn't possible in the olden days. And then programs like Reason and Cubase came along and introduced virtual instruments where the synthesizers and drum machines, piano, strings, whatever, were in the computer, and you just plug your keyboard to the computer, like a musical keyboard with white and black keys, and you would play the sounds that way. And that actually takes talent. The computer doesn't play the keyboard for you. You have to play the keyboard, regardless computer being involved. And that's still true today. So people still learn how to play keyboards and play their own parts, and people learn how to play guitars and drums and record to a computer. It still takes talent. Yes, there's easier ways. Things are good for us. And then there are ways that are lazy, and yes, they're kind of okay. Whatever, you can maybe nitpick and criticize that, but at the same time, I find these things, as someone who's kind of had a journey from start to where I'm at, like they're like training wheels almost. It's like it's not so bad to learn how chords are put together, or drum beats, or there's loops and whatnot. You could use them as is, or you can manipulate them and make them your own, but either way you go about it, it is part of learning how to put together music at the end of the day. There's talent in knowing what sounds go together and what tempo and what pitch and yada yada. And I just want to make a case for these guys that actually don't play the keyboard or any instrument, and they're just clicking in notes and drums with the mouse on the screen. That sounds like that takes no talent and there's no skill involved. But I'll tell you, someone that knows how to play some keys, like clicking in notes with a mouse, is difficult, and it's a skill set. And guys that hone it for years to become great at it, that's talent and skill. I can't do that. It's like people that think sampling is just cheating and crap. The same person ridiculing the sampling, if you told them to flip a sample and make a song, they wouldn't be able to, most likely. And those that can should have some decency and humbleness about them, knowing that sampling is a skill, and it's also a certain sound that you can't get anywhere else. I could play keyboards. I could be a master of keyboards and have music theory up my Yahoo, and still won't sound like a Premiere beat or a Jay Dilla beat or a Pete Rock beat or any sample-based producer. There is a distinct sound that you can't get from the keyboard that you can get from the records or the CDs or the tapes. So it's all talent and skill at the end of the day, regardless of the medium of how it's used, who's making what. There's beginner, intermediate, expert, and advanced, just like there always was. It's just we live in the age of a technology, so we use it. So I hope that's cleared up some things for you. These are facts. God bless.